Always know your worth. A lot of people would talk about, like, I wish I never got in the drugs. Well, that's made me what I am today. You can't dawn on what ifs. Never quit. Have a positive attitude. In any business, there's always going to be ups and downs. Attitude, 99% attitude, 1% skill.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ordinary Extraordinary podcast, where ordinary people sharing their extraordinary stories to live a happier, more fulfilling life. And today we have our guest, Travis Neppard, and he was a former DJ. However, turned his life around and now is a business development manager, helping people with their businesses and coaching and just really excelling in the business development area in wash and wax business.
Yeah, yeah, that's what we do. A little bit of everything. It's not just wash and wax. So we do have a lot of other clients and stuff that we do as well. That is one of our main focus clients that we deal with on a daily and yearly basis.
Right. So could you please introduce yourself a little bit and where did you grow up?
Um, I'm from the other island, I like to say. So I know you're in Victoria area on Vancouver Island. I'm from the other island on the far east, Newfoundland, on the east coast of Canada. So I grew up in a little small fishing community, less than 1,000 people. So a very small community, a lot like a lot of the communities that are on Vancouver Island as well. Small towns, fishermen, fisherwomen, and stuff like that. So very small town. Like I said, I think it's less than 1,000 people.
Yeah, what is that like growing up? Because I grew up in China, so our small town, quote unquote, is like 20 million people. So,
It's
and a
definitely,
thousand
yeah.
people, like, what does that feel like? Were you ever lonely, feel isolated, or everybody just knows everybody? Everybody's extremely friendly.
Newfoundland is known to have some of the nicest people in the country. I'm a proud Newfoundlander. Proud to be what we call a bayman. So anyone that's from a small fishing community, we're known as baymen or bay girls if you're a female. And small town, but yeah, you are isolated. You're on an island. It's much more difficult to get to Newfoundland than it is Vancouver Island. You have to fly. You have to take a ferry. Kind of the same thing, but that ferry ride is 7 hours.
Wow.
So you could be isolated for days on end and not be able to take a ferry, and your only means of travel would be flying to Newfoundland. And then even sometimes the fog could come in, and it could be so foggy that all flights are canceled.
Oh, I had no clue. Like 7 hour ferry. That
Yeah.
sounds like a cruise instead of a
Well,
ferry.
the
Yeah.
ferries are more built like cruise ships. There's actually cabins and that like so if you're taking a night ferry crossing, leaving at like midnight, you get in at like 7:30 a.m. You can actually get a cabin so that you have a little place with a couple bunks to sleep in.
Wow. Wow. Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, I gotta go travel there at some point and experience that.
Yes, for sure. Especially with your paddleboard business. Yeah, you can do a lot of paddleboarding out there.
Oh yeah, great, great, absolutely. And then how did you get into DJing then?
DJing, I was always a lover of music. Music is, the key to my soul per se, so all was always into it. Unfortunately, I was never a musician, so I couldn't play instruments. I'm not a good singer, not even at karaoke. Uh, I wouldn't say that. And I just found another way to be able to listen to music and enjoy it, and I'll help other people enjoy music by getting into the DJ scene and self-taught, learned back in the day with cassettes. I used to record Casey Kasem off of the radio onto my cassette by recording through my stereo system so that I could always have the newest music. So I started way back in the day. I like to say I was like 13 years old or so. Started DJing, doing some junior high dances, high school dances, and from there, had an opportunity to fill in as a nightclub DJ one night. Um, at the age of 19. Maybe it was just a little bit before that.
Which means you were really good at it. Yeah.
Allegedly, I might have been underage. But no, I got into it because I just had a passion for music, and I saw what kind of joy music brought people by oh, this is my favorite song, and dancing, and people having fun. So it was a way for me, just like a band loves to entertain. That was my form of entertainment.
Yeah, what type of music were you DJing?
I've done it all. Because I did high school dances, I did weddings. I've done private functions, nightclub where it was more like top 40. I DJ at a country nightclub. I managed an after hours club. So you can see here, there's a vast different types of music that one would be playing and hosting at those different parties. So, if music was involved and I could DJ, it didn't matter what it was. If you had a special request, for any type, I could cater to it.
Wow, and how long did it take you to learn how to DJ before you get onto the stage?
Really, I got my big break, I guess, when I was, like I said, 19. But finally got my first gig at a nightclub. I can still remember hiding because my mom was at that club that night.
Wow,
Didn't know that was happening, and that was like my first take on like, wow, this is really cool. Now it's not like your teenage dance is one thing. Doing someone's wedding for a family member or friend, that's another thing. But
yeah.
being in a club where people are going out, they're going there to have a good time, and they're paying to get in there or whatever it might be. It was so rewarding, and at 19 years old to be able to do that, it was pretty darn cool, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
absolutely. That's a big accomplishment.
Yes.
And I'm a music lover myself. I told you that I'm actually thinking about getting into DJing at a
Hmm.
later age of my life. And then I'm just like you said, music has really just helped me through a lot of things. And then just you are getting into the zone and you can just forget about everything and move your body. It's just a natural, like almost antidepressant. I'm like, if everybody can just like listen to music and dance every day, and maybe this world
Well,
would
it
not.
gives you that natural serotonin release in your body, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So then you were DJing, and then what happened in between DJ and become salesperson? Because that's quite two different areas. And how did you transition?
Um, yeah, well, after DJing, and doing some really cool DJing gigs, and there was an artist. I don't know if you're familiar with the lady, producer Cascada. She did a big remake of "Every Time We Touch," which is a big, classic song. Was rock and roll, and she did a dance remix of it. And her DJ didn't make it in the country, and I was a local DJ and got the opportunity to be her DJ for her 1 hour set. And that took me
Wow.
into like the concert world of actually not just being in a club, but, like, oh, wow, this is almost like I'm on tour now. And that opened a whole new avenue for me to, you know, grow and expand. And I was like, oh, cool. And then, I knew the local production company that would do concerts and stuff like that to come in to do the sound, lighting, video, special effects. And I thought what they did was really cool. And I was like, hey, this could be, the next layer of my cake, the next layer of my story of who I'm going to be in the future. So, I kind of stopped DJing at that point and went into the, career change of touring professionally with artists, being country, rock, hip hop, metal bands, DJs, a little bit of everything. And, toured across Canada, multiple times, mostly in Western Canada, doing concerts for, whichever artist we were hired to do the production for. That came with obviously, some pros and cons in my life. Being on tour, you're up early in the mornings, you're traveling through the night, getting to another nightclub or a small arena, big arena to do the production, and you work all day. So there's days you're working 18, 20 hours a day.
Wow.
Um, that brought
Oh,
on a new set of challenges for me.
so what are those challenges? How are you able to work 20-hour days?
Well, there's some old sayings about like, rock and roll, and I won't say what those sayings are
Yeah,
on
yeah,
your
yeah.
podcast here, but you can probably see where I'm going.
Yeah.
And, I found myself down a dark road and, started using drugs, to keep me awake longer, you know, so I could still be alert and still function and do a very good job at what I did. But that was what I turned to. And, after about 5 years of touring, I was a full blown addict.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I know it's a very vulnerable place, and thank you for sharing that out in public here. And honestly, there are so many people, and including some of my friends, are going down that dark road right now because I went to Shambhala and then I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing how the drug scene is going at these music festivals. And it's kind of sad to see one of my really close friends is going down that dark road as well and then losing sense of reality even. So, how did you get out of that dark road? And then for some people who are actually struggling with substances abuse, and what are your advice to them to maybe get help or get clean, or what are the first step really to start a better life, to start getting out of the addiction?
Um, you know what? I don't mind sharing because of if my story, if it can help one person, I'd like to be able to help everyone. But if it can help one person, I always looked at that as that's a reward. Thankful for that. On the other side, it is a part of my story, and it actually helped me grow into the person that I am today because I'm one of the lucky people. I've lost a lot of friends to overdose and addiction and different types of things. So, I'm very lucky for that. Happy to always share it, but also, it's a part of my story of who I am today because I always knew deep down inside I could be better. I always knew that, I could do big things, just given the right opportunity. And, I was given that opportunity. I had relocated, and one of the biggest thing I can tell anyone that's going through that, it's your circle of five. Circle of five. It's the people you hang around with.
Yeah.
That was how I got into the scene was the people I was working with. But that was the four other people that I was hanging out with on a daily basis. They were using, and I became the fifth. If you have four friends that just want to chill at home all day and play video games, guess what? You'll probably become the fifth. If
Yeah.
you have four friends that eat fast food on skip the dishes, and never cook or anything like that, guess what? You'll probably become the fifth. So it's the circle of five. So I had an opportunity back in 2017 that I took just to relocate so that I could get rid of the people that I was around. And I don't mean get rid of them because they actually helped me get where I am today by learning from the experiences that I experienced. But with that being said, it was tough. But the help is out there. If you want it, you can get it. It comes down to you. You got to want it first. I know with getting help and stuff, people always talk about religion and stuff. I did not take that route. I am not a religious person, but I
Hmm.
do believe in spirituality of a different sort and whatever that energy might be. I
Yeah.
didn't take the going to church part and stuff like that. That's not what worked for me. What worked for me was wanting it, number one.
Yeah.
Two, following through with it to go get the help. And three, just changing the people around me. That was the three things that helped me. I wanted it. I went and got the help for it. And the help is out there. It's not easy, but it's out there. So any person that really wants it and truly wants it, they're doing it for themselves, not for their parents. My parents tried for years to get me to get help. They offered to pay for it. I didn't want it until I wanted it. Then I was able to, research and find out ways to get that help. So it's out there. You can get it, but you got to want it. Number one. The old cliche saying is, the first step to, admitting you have, or the first step to knowing and recognizing you have a problem is admitting you have a problem, right? When it came to my point, when I hit my lowest of a low, that's when I recognized it. And I went and did what I had to do to be a better person.
So what was the breaking point? Because I was trying to help my friends as well, and then I don't think he actually recognized that himself. So
I,
what
I
was the
think he needs to
breaking?
recognize it himself first.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
So
every time someone told me to get help, it just made me want to use more.
hmm. So as a friend, how do I support someone like that better?
Don't be first of all, never be an enabler. There's times, that I would ask people for money. So for my next high and stuff like that, everybody cut me off. So eventually I burned all those bridges and, I lost a lot of great friends that I've been reconnecting with since I've gotten help. But, I also lost friends that I would ask for money just to, and they would enable me. They'd help me out with the money. First thing is first is, you can't be an enabler of a person that is going to addiction, and they will get mad at you. They will be upset with you. But at the end of the day, if they are willing to make the decision on their own to get that help, and they personally, I think you have to hit rock bottom. Unfortunately, some people, as they're on their way to rock bottom, it doesn't work, and we lose those people, unfortunately. And that's a true story. It's sad. I've lost a lot of friends to it, but it's if they need help, the best thing you can do as a friend is be there when they're at their lows, but not be an enabler so that they can use. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
if you haven't heard from them in a day or two and it's abnormal, reach out to them, check in on them.
Yeah.
That is probably my biggest advice when it comes to what can you do to help them. There's not a lot, but don't be an enabler of their addiction.
Absolutely. So what did rock bottom look like to you? And then how did you actually recognize, like, now I need help? And then what were the resources that you found? And then, yeah, what were the actual steps?
Yeah, rock bottom was it was rock bottom. It was, I was at the lowest of my low. I had a house that I was renting in Calgary, and didn't pay rent. I had a job, wasn't going, was using. Um, it was, this time of year. So we all know a lot of people, get very depressed in December, even though,
Yeah.
Christmas is known as a happy time. It's actually one of the most highest risks for addictions and stuff because of not knowing if you're going to be able to get that Christmas gift or, spend that time with the family, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So it was around this time is when I started to hit rock bottom. I went through the holidays, fake it till you make it. No, everything's good. Telling my parents everything was great. You know what I mean? And it was just after Christmas, where, I think it was the 3rd of January. It was after New Year's. I was out on a bender for a couple days, and I went home. My place, I was locked out. I didn't have a place. It's -40 outside. Um, I had to go to a shelter, and that really gave me a reality check for myself. And that's where something clicked. I don't know what it was. Can't tell you. Not gonna give you a fake answer, made up answer, but just something hit me, and that's where I started to research how I could help myself.
Right. And then for someone who's wanting that help, what kind of resources do you know that they can reach for that help?
Yeah, there's lots out there. It's not easy. Living in BC now for the last 5 years, I look at some of their provincial laws and policies and stuff like that, and I think it's totally backwards on, what they do about, I look at it the same as I just told you, not to be an enabler, but they're enabling people to, clean needles and stuff like that. And I get it. I get it. But at the same time, to me, I'm not a huge supporter of that just
Mhm.
because the amount of money for clean injection sites and clean needles and the staff and all that, like you could be actually trying to rehabilitate someone instead of enabling them.
Yeah,
But if you go out there, you research, you can find the help. There's programs, there is people, there is, community associations that will help get you into them. It's different no matter where you live. I was in Alberta. I was able to, research and found a government subsidy program and went through it and got the help that I needed.
that's great. That's great. And then after you got clean, how did you get into sales?
Well, I actually got this job right before I got clean.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I started in this job, and I think that was another one of the things is that I really liked the sales world. I was a talker. I love to speak with people and stuff like that. I think it goes back to my heritage with being a Newfoundlander. We're known as some of the friendliest people, but we'll talk your ear off. But yeah, I had started in this job. It was October 17th, 2017. So I went to my employer who I hadn't showed up with and told him that I hit rock bottom and all that. And I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get help. And, he was supportive of it. We'll talk when you get that help and, you stay clean and stuff like that. And, February 9th or January 28th, actually, I went into a detox facility to detox because they will not take you into a rehab facility if you have drugs in your system. I went into detox. I was there till February 9th, so just over a week. And then I went to a 28-day program. And then I came back and, I came back. The guy that I was working for at the time out of our Calgary office brought me back. And, it's been a wild ride since 2017 to, now, I'm, manager of a sales and marketing firm, business development manager. I travel around to other offices and help guide and coach them as, people become entrepreneurs and they get an opportunity within our business to run their own office. And, I'll go out there and just help coach them, on being an entrepreneur because anybody that knows anything about entrepreneurship, it's not easy, you know.
No, yeah,
In most businesses, you open 10 of the same business, one will succeed,
that's right.
after
Yeah.
after the first year.
Hmm.
Most businesses fail. I think it's actually 20% will fail within their first year. Or sorry, no, 70% will fail in their first year, 20% will fail by year 3, and 10% make it long term.
So, do you have any advice or do you know what are the 10% that doesn't fail? What are they doing to keep their business going and be successful?
They never give up. The old thing is like people go into entrepreneurship. Anybody that knows anyone that's an entrepreneur and runs their own business, they work 7 days a week to start, especially.
Yeah.
Your phone is always by your side. You're always working. You got to put in the hard work and time. And a lot of people don't. And, they're like, okay, I've been working. Let's just use the restaurant industry for, an example here. Oh, I've been working as a chef in a restaurant for X amount of years, right? I'm just going to open my own restaurant so I have full run of that restaurant. And they do that, but then they don't spend time at that restaurant. They have a head chef. They have, a general manager. They have an assistant manager. They have a kitchen manager, a front of house manager. And if you do that in your first year, you're just throwing money away down the drain. If you really want to make your business successful, treat it as it is your business and be there for your business. Because
Yeah,
if you take care of your business will take care of you.
that's correct. So, what are the top 5 tips you would give somebody to run a successful business, and what are the 5 tips that you would give somebody for sales skills?
Um, they're going to be pretty similar, actually. For running a successful business, tough times don't last, tough people do. That's an old saying, but it's
Yeah.
true. You know, so never quit. Number one, never quit.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
have a positive attitude. In any business, there's always going to be ups and downs. Attitude, 99% attitude, 1% skill. You know what I mean? Anybody can run the business, really. If they have a great attitude, they can learn and develop the traits that they need to make that business successful. But if their attitude is not there, doesn't matter what you're doing. If you have I'll say a crappy, I won't say the other word, a crappy attitude, it's not going to work. So positive attitude, never giving up. Um, take care of your staff, because they're the ones that are going to make your business work or not.
Yeah.
Treat them with humanity, you know, reward them when they do good things. You know, if you take care of your staff will also take care of your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What else would I say? Well, how many is that now? Where am I at? How many is that?
Uh,
Three, four?
like four, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I guess the biggest thing is, business entrepreneurship is not easy. Um, you know, you do need to find a happy medium and spend some time with your family as well, because you
Yeah.
can't just all be business. So it's finding that happy medium, but
Mm.
you're able to do that. And I'm actually coaching a guy on this right now. You're able to do that. Like, yes, entrepreneurship, it's lots of hours running a business. You're at the office late and you're in on Saturday, maybe you're in on Sunday and all those types of things. But you got to spend time with your family. Now, from my experience, a great entrepreneur that can include his family into the business or her family into the business, it makes it much easier. So, if you've got to run in on a Saturday morning for an hour, take your kids with you or take your spouse with you. You know, hey, I'll grab you a coffee. I just got to run in. I got to do a few things, or at least invite them. They might not want to go, but at least invite them, include them. Even if they have nothing to do with your actual business, include them in the business. I do
Okay.
team nights and stuff with our team here in our office, and we always tell them, you can bring your boyfriend, you can bring your mom or dad if you want, or if you have kids, you can bring your kids to bowling. We'll include them because that person that's working really hard for us right now and working towards getting promoted into a manager role or whatever it might be, you're the backbone behind the scenes. So if you're not supportive of it, or your family is not supportive of it, it's never going to work. So you've got to include the family and spend private time with them. But also, if you can include them in your career and get them involved in it, where they don't mind running to the office with you to check on a few things or what it might be, it's going to make it way more successful.
That is a great advice. Yeah, I've read it somewhere too, is that your business is not just only business, it's also like your personal life. If you're not taking care of your personal life, if your wife or husband or boyfriend or girlfriend is not happy, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're probably just at work, you're just thinking about that fight you had, or like, oh, they're complaining that I'm at work again. And then it's really important to maintain that relationship with your family. And we have a saying actually in China is like, a harmonious family will create a harmonious country and then harmonious workplace. And it's a genius idea that you always include your spouse into everything you do and then just include them as part of this entrepreneurship. And then
100%.
yeah, and then your business will last longer as well. And then now that you've mentioned that you believe in spirituality, and then it's that spirituality that helped you maybe get clean or getting into successful into sales. So could you please tell me more about that? What does spirituality mean for you?
Um, yeah, like I said, spirituality for me, it's not a religion thing. I'm not a religious person.
Hmm.
Um, I have my own. I don't talk much about this because my beliefs are my beliefs, and that's okay, and yours are yours, and whomever watches this, yours is yours. But that doesn't mean we can't get along just because we don't have the same beliefs. That's one of the crazy things that's wrong with our world this day and age. Just because we can't agree on things doesn't mean we shouldn't be friends,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly.
my spirituality is mine. I don't dive in deep to that one, but I also am a true believer, and I'll show you here. Sorry, I went off screen. I've got a big piece of jade stone in my pocket at all times.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
It's from a mine here in BC. They have actually a TV show, so shout out to them up in northern BC, but I have that, I'm sitting, in the office. A lot of people will have a fidget spinner or a stress ball. I just sit here, rubbing my piece of jade. It brings me, good feelings and stuff like that. So I have a little bit of that spirituality is what I'll say.
that's great. That's great. Yeah, jade is actually a very auspicious stone. Chinese people really love it. It brings
Hmm.
you wealth, like harmony and balance into life. And it
Yep.
always cool too, so it always like cools you down. And then they say that the jade will nurture the person, and the person actually in turn nurtures the jade too. So it's like a win-win kind of situation relationship. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, indeed. So yeah, that's always with me, no matter where I go.
That's great. That's great.
I've been questioned at the airport why I have a piece of jade in my pocket, though.
Really? They question that?
Yeah, I forgot to take it out one time, and then they looked at it and they're like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "It's jade." So then they had to swab it to make sure it was something. So it turned out to be a quite funny interaction when I was trying to fly one time. So, but yeah, no, it's with me wherever I go ever since I was given that piece. So, it goes everywhere.
That's great. That's interesting. Yeah, I should have something like that as well. Just for good luck and yeah, just to something that like holds that piece of energy or something to remind you of like good things. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
100%.
hmm And then I want to dive in a little bit more onto the business side of things. First, you started as a sales guy, and then now you're a development manager. So, how did you expand that part of the business? And then, what did you do to expand it? And then, now, what kind of products do you guys sell? And then, how do you improve as a person, as a salesperson, so that you can manage like bigger business? Yeah.
Our business, was founded in Toronto, Ontario, back in 1981. So it's the same age as me. I just
Wow.
aged myself there. Yeah. So it started by actually a person in Ontario. They were going down. Ironically, they were going down to Chinatown to buy products that were coming in. Pens, actually. It started with pens, and like a pen that you write with,
Wow.
buying
Okay.
them in Chinatown, and then taking that same exact pen and taking out to the suburbs and reselling at a higher price. That's how it originally started.
Yeah.
Um, you
How
know,
high? Yeah.
from there, then the business grew, and the guy saw an opportunity. He's like, "Well, I can only sell so many pens in let's say one city today. But if I can train and develop others to do the same, I can now not just work in Toronto, but let's say there's you and I. I'm selling pens. We're here in I'm my office in Surrey. You're in Victoria, so I'm selling them in Surrey. I'm only selling them in Surrey. But if I can train and develop you to sell the same pens in Victoria, well, that's pretty cool, right?
hmm
So what it is, it's a pay it forward approach. So we do the same in our business. People come in, as a brand ambassador. That's what I started out as, selling FW1 professional car cleaning products. And I grew through a management training program. In that management training program, I learned how to train people. I learned how to interview people. I learned systems and structure, which has really developed me both personally and career wise. And it's made me much more organized as an individual. um, and then I worked my way into a management role, helping build the office up, and became a trainer, from a trainer assistant manager, and now I do business development, where the guy that owns this office, he oversees 16 other offices that are independently owned, but he's their promoting owner in our business. So, sometimes he has to travel. So sometimes I have to run this location for him. Um, Back in October, just before we met, actually, I was out in St. John, New Brunswick, where a lady got promoted back in September, and she relocated to the East Coast to St. John, New Brunswick. So, she got out there, she got her business up and running, and then I went out and spent 2.5 weeks, just helping teach and coach and train people to, be a better salesperson, a better leadership role, and assistant manager roles and stuff like that. Yeah, it's fun. I love it. Things are great, and I wouldn't change it, and I wouldn't change anything we've talked about tonight. That's the thing. Like, a lot of people would talk about, like, I wish I never got into drugs. Well, that's made me what I am today.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
what would
authentic.
I have been if not? I don't know, but you can't dawn on the what ifs. That's what I did. Here's why I am today, and that's I never look back at the mistakes that I made and get upset and we're like, oh, I wish I would have graduated high school, because I didn't graduate high school. I dropped out. I never went to university, obviously, because I wasn't a high school grad. I don't ever wish that I went and did that, because I'm still successful. I have a management title. Um, to me, it just goes to show it doesn't matter what you come from, where you come from, who you are. You can change your life if you want to. Like,
Absolutely.
100% you can if you want to. You've got to want it first. And then
Yeah,
if you want it, just never quit. Just
never quit.
never quit.
So never
Perfect.
give up. And then I was just thinking, for someone, like you said, winter month, especially December, is a very depressing month. And if somebody feel like they just can't be positive and they can't just stay in a positive mindset or they just want to give up, what's the advice to keep on going?
Um, cool. That's a touchy one.
Yeah,
That'll pull at some people's heartstrings for sure. But
yeah.
always know your worth. You
Mm,
know, I'll give you an example right now. This is not planned by any means for any viewers that you get either. What do I have for cash on me? Okay, so I have a $10 bill on me. Okay, normally I have a $100 bill in my pocket, but like, if I take this money right now, it's $10. $10 is $10, right?
hmm.
If I asked you beforehand, would you take that $10 bill if I just gave it to you? You'd probably say yes, right?
Probably, yeah.
No, I just crumpled that $10 bill up. If I still offered it to you and you needed $10, would you still take it?
If I need it, I'd take it. But
Right? If I
hmm.
took that $10 bill that's crumpled and I threw it down on the ground and I, put my foot on it and pushed it into the ground and made it dirty and stuff. If you needed that $10, would you still pick it up even though I pushed it into the ground and it was super dirty?
I, me personally, then I don't know anymore.
Right?
I'm like,
But
I
this
don't
this is
need
the
that ten
thing.
dollars that desperately, but if somebody really needs that ten
Exactly. And
dollars, they still
this
probably
is what
pick it
I'm
up.
saying.
Yeah.
If you needed it, but that $10 is still $10.
Yes.
And no matter what life does to us, sometimes life will crumple us. Sometimes life will kick us and stomp on us when we're down. But know your worth. That that didn't change. It's still $10.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Know your worth, and you can be whatever you want to be. Like, and never forget that. You know, do things in life for you. Often it's family that want people to do certain things. I hire a lot of people. Oh, well, my mom and dad, I'm in school, I have class on this day, and they're doing it just because that's what their family told them they have to do.
Right.
And I'm sorry, in my belief, it's like, you need to do what's going to make you happy. And if you know your worth and you know what you want to do, whatever it is, you'll do it if you want it to. My family, when I first started in this business, Travis, what are you doing? You're selling a can, you're selling car cleaning products at a gas station or outside a Canadian Tire. Like, what are you doing with your life? Right? That's 7 years ago. When I visit my family now, they're like, Travis, you're living the life. I had what, 6 vacations in 2025.
Wow.
My family, my mom can't take that many vacations. She's still working hard for 4 companies. I
Yeah.
work I work for one. If I
Mm-hmm.
need a vacation, I can take a vacation. So I knew my worth. I knew what I was good at. I knew if I, in this business, because I learned very quickly I was good at sales. And it doesn't matter what you want to do. If you want to be a waitress, be the best one. If you want to be, an engineer, be the best one. You want to be a brain surgeon, be the best one. But do it for you, not for anyone else. That's my beliefs because my family wanted me to do this, wanted me to do that. You got to go back, get your grade 12 gold, get a trade, and become a tradesperson. I didn't want to be a tradesperson. And I didn't know what I wanted to be. And really, honestly, I love DJing and I love touring with bands, but I knew both of those lifestyles would never, be a permanent gig for me. And when I started in sales in this business, I was like, wow. Because, and that's the other side, being that I was an addict, sales give me that rush that I used to get in a natural sense now.
Hmm.
Right. So I think that's why I excelled at this. I think that's why I became a great salesperson. And then I became a great leader. And then I became a great, team leader. And I became an assistant manager. And I became, now I call myself a coach. Like, the people that I work with on a daily basis, when they try and call me boss, I get upset. I'm not your boss. I'm your coach. And I was a big sports player. I played a lot of volleyball growing up. And, I was coached. And, I had a great coach. And I look back on, that was the best years of my life growing up, was playing volleyball because I was really good at it. But I had a great coach that always kept me, you know, even if we lost a big game, my coach didn't give us crap. He built us up. Hey, you lost the game. That's it's done. It's over with. We have another game in 2 hours. Who cares? And it's the same thing now. And I look at myself as a coach, whether people come into our business, short term just because they need a job, or whether they're looking for an opportunity for growth and stuff like that. It doesn't matter. I always tell everybody that starts work for us, you know, whatever your goals are, that is now my goals,
Wow.
because me helping you achieve your goals helps me achieve my goals. And what I say as a coach, as like a mentor in the sales and direct marketing field that I'm in, there's nothing more rewarding than helping other people hit their goals. Whether it's, hey, I just want to go, I want to pay for a semester of university so my parents don't have to pay. Well, if that's your goal, I'm going to help you achieve it. If you want to buy a car, in 3 months, well, that becomes my goal. I'm going to help you get there. Right. So yeah, it's knowing your worth and just never giving up on it, never giving up on yourself. When you think you're down and you're at a low, if that's what you're experiencing, you know, you can seek the resources for the help that you're looking for. If you want it, you got to want it. You'll
Yeah.
find it. I did. I'm nothing special. I found it because I wanted it. I found this career, didn't know, just stumbled upon it, needed a job. Here I am 7 years later. Other than being a DJ, it's my longest career that I've had. But, I don't see myself changing careers ever again. Like, I'm in this is my long game now. That's my new goal. My new goal is to help others reach their goals, and whatever that is. Like I said, if it's buying a car, paying for university, doesn't matter what it is. That's my goals for everybody that works for our business.
Wow. So that's human to human connection and really that interpersonal relationship. Not only you're just like, oh, I'm the boss, so I'm managing you and I'm like telling you what to do, but you're there to actually care for them as a genuine human being or even maybe as a older brother figure or like dad figure to really help that person in life. And I think that's what we should do for every career, every business, or every aspects of life. It's like when you're dealing with the other person, either your coworker or your friends, is just like genuinely out there to help them as a person instead of like trying to change them and telling them what to do.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And then how did you become a good leader? And then what does leadership mean?
I didn't know I was a good leader. Like I said, I stumbled upon the job and I stumbled upon being a leader because, I was really good at the sales and sales is not an easy field to work in. There's a lot of, ups and a lot of downs. There's good days, bad days. There's really awesome days and really crappy days. That is sales in a nutshell. So, this is what we teach and coach people. Like it is 99% attitude, 1% skill. But the biggest thing is in sales, and it can be in any job, I'm sure, in any career, never get too high when things are good and never get too low when things are low. You need to keep yourself humble. And if you look like a heart monitor, you never want those spikes, right? When things are good or bad, your heart rate spikes, or when things are low, it's going down, whatever. You want
Right.
to always keep yourself level.
Yeah, that sounds very Zen, like a Zen Buddhist advice.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And then, so
100%.
what are you looking forward to for the rest of the career? And uh,
Uh, there's lots of things happen. I'm excited for what's to come. And, 2026 is fastly approaching. December 1st today. Doing this interview. We're our business is making a growth and expansion down to Florida in the new year. So I'm going to be a part of going down and help, build a team down there and stuff. And then, still throughout Canada to some of the offices and stuff that we have here. Um, you know, More vacations, something I'm always looking forward to. Because, I didn't do any travel. 2025 was my first time ever traveling outside of Canada.
really? Wow.
And,
Yeah.
out of my 6 vacations this year, three of them, 50% of them were outside of the country.
That's great.
I want to double that outside of the country next year.
Yeah,
Um, you
the
know,
world is so
um,
big. Go explore.
yeah, exactly. We have a big
Yeah.
world and, you know, yeah, just, I'm excited for 2026. It's going to be a big year. It's going to be a big personal growth year once again, because you never stop learning and growing. Anyone that's serious about their career, you should never stop learning. Because I've been doing this for 7 years. We could hire a guy tomorrow that interviews with us, and he may have a sales marketing background. He doesn't have it in our business, but I might be able to learn some new tricks from him. I
Yeah.
have staff that started 3-4 weeks ago that are 19 years old, and I learned new things that I now will start to implement in how I speak to people and how I train people. Every day is a learning. Every
Yeah.
day is a learning day. So never stop learning. Never stop being a student. Put on that student hat every day. Doesn't matter what your career is.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then what is your secret to stay happy in life?
It's just about being humble. I'm humble. I'm thankful for everything and every opportunity I've been given. For the people that are now in my circle of five, like we talked about, I'm thankful for them. I tell them all the time, thanks for the littlest things. To the point they're like, Travis, you don't have to thank me for getting a glass of water from my fridge, but I tell them thanks. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But like
gratitude.
just being humble, be humble. Respect. Respect everybody equally, and just treat people with kindness. Like we
Yeah,
live in a crazy world, and we could all fight and bicker because we don't agree upon things. But I say to people in on a daily basis when I'm out doing sales, when I'm out doing the sales and training new people, someone tells me our product is not so good, right? And I'll be like, hey,
yeah,
some people drink Coca-Cola, some people drink Pepsi. That doesn't mean we
yeah,
can't get along,
that's true. Yeah,
right? Our world, if every person, and I forget how many billion people we are in the world, but if we could all be 1% nicer, just think about how much better the universe could be. Just think about it.
absolutely.
It's such a
Yeah,
small number, 1%, but think
yeah,
about that by the billions of people that are in the world, and how much better the world could be if everybody was 1% better and
Yeah,
nicer and kinder.
absolutely. Like, I definitely feel the winter depression blues, but this thought came into my mind is that even though I'm feeling low, but I'm just gonna be nicer to people. So I just like invited this new friend over for dinner, and I'm like, no worries, I have this abundance of food. Like, come and eat more dinner, and then
Mm-hmm.
smile at everybody on the street. Even though you have a lower month, doesn't mean that your life is ending. You can still have an okay day, even though you feel low. So that's so far that's my tips for people out there who's feeling a low month for December. Yeah.
100%.
Just be nicer to other people when you're feeling low. Yeah.
Yeah, and I bet you though, and that was a great thing that you brought up there. You know that December is a low month for a lot of people, and you know you've been even feeling it yourself,
Yeah.
right? But I guarantee you, if you look back at a day that you're having a low, and you go out and you are nicer and you're smiling to people, the natural energy and the smiles you got back, if you really looked at it, you probably feel a lot better about yourself. So we don't focus on the small things that we do for people.
Yeah.
You know, we only focus on big things that we do for people to help. And you know, if you really look back on, you know, if you go out tomorrow and you're having a bad day, and you will as a human being, you will have bad days. But if you go out tomorrow and you're having a bad day, and you just take that with you, you know, your day can't get any better. But if you can go out there and you can smile at someone and say, "Hey, how are you today?" and they say, "Great, how are you?" You never know what that other person is probably having a bad day too. But the fact that you reached out to them and said, "How are you?" and smiled at them, you may have just made their whole day, week, month, or even year, because you never know what someone else is going through.
That's right. That's correct. Yeah. Compliment on people, smile at other people. Yeah,
One
and
hundred
tell
percent.
them that hope they have a good day. And yeah,
Yep.
it's the in between little things that also makes life wonderful and meaningful. Sometimes it's not all the big projects, and yeah, just look at the smaller things.
For sure. You know, there's an old saying. Let me get this. I got to get it in my head because I haven't said it for a while. There's 86,400 seconds in a day.
Wow.
What are you doing with your time?
Hmm.
Most people sleep 8 to 10 hours. So you're wasting a lot of those seconds by sleeping. And I know we are recommended to have sleep, you know,
Oh
and
yeah.
we
Yeah.
should we need the sleep. Our body needs it. It's what refuels our tank. But out of, you know, if you're sleeping 8 hours out of that, the time that you're awake, make use of your time. Just give someone a compliment today. One person. You'll feel better about yourself, and you never know how much that compliment made someone feel. So out of those 86,400 seconds, you know, make sure the ones that you're awake, you're using them wisely and you're being kind to others.
Yes, absolutely. That's beautiful, Travis. I want to wrap this up, but I also have two questions. Is that do you think people are able to be in the DJ scene, but also not be an addict and be just normal and healthy?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, you can. And this will go back, you know, once again, it'll be your circle of five. You need to hang around with like minded people that are enjoying the music and the scene for the music and the scene of the natural endorphins and serotonins that are being released in our bodies. If you hang out with those people that are on the other path, you will probably become the fifth one. But just your circle of five. Keep it close. You know, it's in what is it? What's that movie? Meet the Parents or something? They talk about you know, the circle of trust. It's kind of the same
Yeah.
thing. You know, it's your circle of five. If you hang out with like minded people, you know, you'll be successful. You know, so you know the only thing to build off of that is like we talked about. If you hang out with four other video gamers, you're probably the fifth. If you hang out with four people that eat fast food and skip the dishes and never cook, you're probably the fifth. But if you hang out with four millionaires, guess what? You'll probably be the fifth.
Mm. Absolutely, absolutely. And the other question I have is, how do you handle rejection in sales? I know probably get a lot of rejections, and how do you handle rejection? Yeah.
What's the worst someone can say to you? It's no, right?
Yep. Yep.
Or like, it doesn't matter where you're from. You think about it as you're like an infant child and you're growing up and you first start to crawl, right? And you're crawling around the house. And now you can stand up at the coffee table. You're able to pull yourself up. And now you're starting to move around the house and, you're starting to touch objects, my parents always had little knickknacks on the coffee table and end table, little picture frame. As a kid, what would your parents say to you? No, don't touch, right? Don't touch. No, no. We got told no so many times. As a kid, the first few times we're told to do it, it hurts our feelings and we'll probably cry, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's no different in being an adult. You're going to get told no. Who cares? No, it's an acronym. It stands for next opportunity. Move on. Who cares?
Opportunity. That's great. That's great. Yeah, never heard of that before, but that's amazing. Next opportunity.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
just keep that positive attitude.
great.
Sales, we're in a tough field with sales. People tell us no, and there's people that tell us no in very rude ways. Even if I have what we call a mean and rude customer, I kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
I've had people come back and apologize because they were rude to me and buy the product, not even wanting to use it. No use for it. Right. So you just, you kill people with kindness.
Absolutely. Great. Is there anything else you want to share to the other people?
Ah, I think we've really touched on a lot of things and, just know your worth. Honestly, just know your worth. You can do whatever you want to do. I'm living proof. I'm nothing special, guys. Nothing special. I'm a high school dropout, no post-secondary education, you know, went through my life until I was, 37 years old, job to job, you know, became an addict, all those things. And at 37, something clicked. And, since then, we're 2025 now. So since 2017, I've made a career for myself when everyone, sorry, thought I'd never amount to anything. I have friends that, are nurses and, skilled welders and, tradespeople. And I can tell you, yeah, they do it. They make good money, but I'm a lot happier than they are because I'm actually doing a job that I love. And that's the difference. So just remember what you want for yourself. You don't have to do things for other people to make them happy. In our business, we have people that went to school to be engineers because that's what their family made them do. They went to be doctors, but guess what? They're running a sales and marketing office,
Yeah. Wow.
right?
Hmm.
But there's
Follow
also
your
people
passion.
like me. There's people like me with no education running, managing a sales and marketing office. So, yeah, just always know your own worth. And if you want it, you can get it. It's up to you. Only you can make the choices and decisions, no matter what aspect, whether it's, through battling addictions or, getting that job and, excelling or becoming an entrepreneur. If you want it, you can get it. Comes
Yeah.
with hard work, grit, and determination, though. Hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle.
Mm. Yes. How do people find that passion?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I don't know. I've always been passionate about everything I've done in life. So, I think it's instilled in me, but, I think if you find what you're looking for and what you want to do, you'll have that passion naturally. If you're trying to find that passion for something that you're not 100% into, it's hard to have passion for something that you're not 100% sold on. If you're not 100% in love with your job, I don't have a job. I get up every morning excited to get to the office so I can see my peers. I can see the people that I'm about to coach today. I never go to work.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
look at it like, oh man, I got to work today. Never, never do I ever say, oh, I wish I didn't have work today. No, I'm excited to go in. and it's tough. And there's days that I'm like a little bit more tired, but I'm like, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for others.
Yeah.
There's, in our office right now, there's 18 other people that I coach and, I stand by every day. So me not showing up, I'm not there for them. So I get up and I come in and I'm there for them on a daily basis. And I get rewarded more than any money by doing that.
That's beautiful. Service to the others and that passion in your heart always.
100%.
Thank you so much for coming up to my podcast.
100%.
It's
I
it's
appreciate you having me.
yeah, it's been a great journey, and thank you for being so honest and vulnerable, yet so positive at all times.
I always say to people, I'm just me. I'm nothing special. I'm just me. That's it.
Authenticity is the best. Yeah,
Yep.
just be
And,
you.
I, and I, I'm very blunt.
Yeah,
So,
just
but
be
yeah,
you and
and
don't
thank
change
you.
a thing. Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me. Our little meetup of you coming by a gas station and we met and we had a great interaction. We chatted, much longer than I chat with a normal customer. Just I think it was the energy that we felt from each other, and we kind of talked about that,
Yeah.
and it led us into conversation. A lot of the things we talked about today, we talked about that day,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Just dive deeper
you know,
into it because I was really drawn to your energy. You're just so positive. And then yeah, like I don't mind someone talking my ears off if they're talking their authentic truth. And
exactly.
yeah, and be kind and just I can see that spark in your eyes and that smile is just so genuine. So yeah, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much once again for inviting me. I'm excited to actually see this when you do get it ready and stuff. Yeah, it's been great. I appreciate you. I appreciate anyone that does watch this, and appreciate yourself. I'll leave you on that.
Yeah, everybody know your worth. We appreciate you. You're whole and complete and beautiful. Be authentic yourself and follow your passion.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody. See you next time. Bye. Have a good night. Peace.